In 2019, a strange video clip began circulating on a small online forum dedicated to unexplained footage. The clip was only 40 seconds long and had no title, description, or explanation. It appeared to be recorded on an old handheld camcorder sometime late at night. The camera shook slightly as if the person holding it was nervous. The scene showed a narrow forest trail illuminated only by the weak beam of a flashlight. Leaves rustled in the darkness and the person filming kept whispering, asking if someone was there. At first nothing seemed unusual, but halfway through the clip, a tall shape briefly moved between two trees in the distance. It was far too tall to be a normal person, and its movement was strangely smooth toward the ground, pointing at the dirt while heavy footsteps quickly approached. Toward the ground, pointing at the dirt while heavy footsteps quickly approached. The clip ended abruptly after the footsteps stopped. What made the video unsettling was the final frame before it cut to black. For just a fraction of a second, something leaned into the camera's light. Viewers who paused the footage noticed a pale face with unusually long features and eyes that reflected the flashlight like an animal in the dark. The video quickly spread to other websites where people debated whether it was staged or real. Some claimed the footage came from a missing hiker who had disappeared in a national forest that same year. Others believed it was simply an elaborate horror project. However, no one was ever able to identify the person behind the camera or the location of the trail. The original upload account was deleted only 2 days later, leaving behind nothing but the eerie clip and dozens of unanswered questions about what truly happened in that forest. The second video clip surfaced nearly a year later and appeared very different from the first. This footage came from what looked like a security camera inside an empty convenience store. The timestamp showed it was recorded at 2:37 in the morning. Fluorescent lights buzzed softly while rows of shelves stood perfectly still. At first the footage seemed completely ordinary. For several minutes nothing moved except the faint flicker of a light near the back wall. Then the automatic entrance door slowly slid open, even though no one appeared outside. The motion sensor should only have activated if someone walked near the door. The camera continued recording as the door remained open for nearly 20 seconds. Suddenly a small object on the counter slid across the surface and fell to the floor as if someone invisible had pushed it aside while entering the store. What followed in the footage made many viewers uneasy. A row of hanging snack bags near the register began to sway gently, like something brushing past them. One by one they moved as if an unseen person was walking through the aisle. The strange movement continued toward the back of the store where the refrigerator doors stood closed. Then one of the glass doors slowly opened by itself. The interior light of the fridge cast a bright glow into the dark aisle. For a moment everything was still again. But suddenly the camera captured a faint outline standing in front of the refrigerator. It looked almost like a distorted human shape made from shadows and reflections. The figure remained visible for only a second before the refrigerator door slammed shut violently. The camera feed cut out immediately afterward, and the remaining footage was never recovered. The owner of the convenience store later claimed that no one had entered the building that night. According to the security system logs, the door had opened but no alarm was triggered and no employee badge was used. Even stranger, the object that slid off the counter was never found anywhere in the store. The clip gained attention online when an employee leaked the footage to a paranormal discussion group. Many viewers slowed the video frame by frame and noticed something disturbing. When the refrigerator door first opened, a faint reflection appeared in the glass that looked like a tall figure standing behind the camera itself. If that reflection was real, it meant whatever entered the store may have been much closer to the camera than anyone realized. The store owner eventually replaced the entire security system and refused to talk about the incident again. The third and most disturbing clip came from a group of urban explorers who filmed abandoned locations for their channel. In the video, two friends were exploring an empty apartment complex that had been scheduled for demolition. The building looked completely deserted with broken windows and peeling paint covering the walls. One of the explorers held a camera, while the other used a flashlight to guide their way through the dark hallway. They joked nervously as they opened old apartment doors and checked empty rooms. Everything seemed normal until they reached the end of the third-floor corridor. At the far end was a staircase leading to the roof. As the camera zoomed in, they noticed the stairwell door was slowly swinging back and forth even though there was no wind inside the building. The explorers assumed another person might be inside and cautiously walked closer. As they approached the stairwell, the camera picked up a faint sound echoing from above. It almost sounded like slow footsteps moving across the roof. The explorers called out several times, asking if anyone else was there. No one answered. When they finally reached the stairs, the flashlight beam revealed something strange on the concrete steps. Wet footprints were visible leading down from the roof toward them. The problem was that the footprints appeared fresh and shiny as if they had just been made moments earlier. Yet the stairwell above them was completely empty. The camera operator nervously followed the trail of footprints upward while the other explorer stayed behind. Halfway up the stairs, the footsteps suddenly stopped. There was no door nearby, no hallway, and nowhere for a person to hide. The trail simply ended in the middle of the staircase. The camera slowly lifted toward the dark rooftop entrance. For several seconds nothing happened. Then a loud metallic noise echoed from above, like something heavy dragging across the roof. The explorer climbed the final few steps and pushed the door open. The rooftop was empty except for scattered debris and an old water tank. The wind blew softly across the concrete surface while the city lights flickered in the distance. Suddenly the camera turned sharply toward the water tank when a shadow moved behind it. The explorer walked closer, calling out again. Just as he reached the corner of the tank, a tall shape briefly rose from behind it and disappeared over the edge of the roof. The camera operator rushed forward and pointed the camera over the side of the building, expecting to see someone running below. The street beneath them was completely empty. The most disturbing part of the footage happened moments later. As the explorer turned back toward the roof, the camera caught a reflection in the metal side of the water tank. Standing behind the camera operator was a dark figure that had not been there seconds earlier. It appeared extremely tall and thin, with arms hanging unusually low. The explorer did not seem to notice it at first. The figure remained motionless for several seconds while the wind continued blowing across the rooftop. Then the camera suddenly tilted as the operator seemed to sense something behind him. The video shook violently as both explorers began shouting in panic. Their flashlight beam swung wildly across the roof while they ran toward the stairwell door. For a split second the camera pointed backward, capturing the tall figure standing perfectly still near the water tank. The footage ended as the explorers rushed down the stairs and out of the building. Their breathing was heavy and their voices sounded terrified as they argued about what they had just seen. The camera briefly captured the hallway behind them before the recording stopped. In the final frame, viewers later noticed something chilling. At the far end of the corridor, near the stairwell they had just left, the same tall figure appeared standing in the darkness. It seemed impossible for anything to move that quickly from the roof to the hallway below. The explorers uploaded the video but removed it only a few days later without explanation. Since then, copies of the clip have continued circulating online, leaving viewers to wonder whether the footage captured something genuinely unexplained. Even today, many people believe those three strange clips might be connected somehow.